I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valve, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic echographic and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent to Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in a tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve! Yo, take a cowboy. To the vertebrae. I need some suction. In the garret.
There we go. Uh-oh. Hello. El Horrible knows how to do that. I don't know how to do it. Apparently, I have to have a different account to play an actual opening video. But it's your old pal, Dr. Steve from Wellness Retreat. And I had an interesting day today. I took my, I did a bunch of stuff. I had a class on stress reduction, which I absolutely need. And another class on how to redefine fitness because I'm just a slug. I don't know if I told you guys, literally the first exercise of the first day, I ripped my soleus muscle. I thought I ripped my gastrocnemius, but the physical therapist and I today figured out that it was the soleus muscle, which is one of the calf muscles. It's the muscle underneath the one that feels like a stomach, which is why it's called the gastrocnemius. Get it? Gastric. Looks like a belly. And anyway, very first day, first exercise, rip, 10 out of 10 pain. I worked through this circuit where we had to push sleds and do these damn battle ropes. Y'all can kiss my ass with these battle ropes, by the way. They suck. And anyway, so, but I wasn't going to stop. Finished all of that and limped back to my place, which is beautiful, by the way. This place is amazing. And that night I had a massage with a very delightful lady, and she and her wife live close by. And she was rougher than hell. If you catch my drift, she was rough, but it felt great. She kept saying, "Am I hurting you?" And it's like, yeah, but it hurts good. And she worked it out and got the pain from about an 8 on a scale of 1 to 10 down to a 4. And then I saw a physical therapist today, and he dry needled it. And Dr. Scott was supposed to be in here to discuss dry needling, and he's not here. But basically, they take needles, and they're very thin, like human hair type needles, shove them actually into the muscle and move them around. And then he put electrodes on them. And you can, I'll post a video at some point, and you can just see my ankle just jerking like that as this thing contracted the muscle of my calf. And I feel like $1 million. I can tell there's, I injured it, but I'm great. Now, when I talk about scale of 1 to 10, the way that I talk about that scale is 10. A 10 of pain is you are in the Civil War and you got shot with a musket ball through your leg, spurting blood, and they're now sawing your leg off with a rusty saw. That's a 10. So if someone isn't writhing and screaming in pain and they're telling you that their pain's a 10, just reorient them to the pain scale. But given that, probably mine was a 7, not an 8, but it was about some of the worst pain I've ever had. And now, I mean, he said you can just do anything you want to do, so I'm going to do it. It was pretty cool. I took my first ketamine dose today. That was very interesting. I'm microdosing it. And the ketamine microdosing, instead of taking 100 milligram, which is you're basically tripping balls, they give you 15 milligrams. And it's like microdosing anything else, any other psychedelic. And what I felt was very little. I was a lot more talkative and focused at dinner when I was sitting down with all my friends here at the wellness retreat. And when I walked outside, all the colors were very vivid. Everything was very crisp and sharp. I actually, I mean, I'm sure this is placebo. I feel better already. Really, it's like, hell, I could go home right now. But I want to talk just a little bit about ketamine. And then Douchey the bag disappeared. Where did Douchey the bag go? Okay. Douchey was going to be in here and talk to me. Rochi is here. ORS at the movies. Amanda Davidson is here. Thank you. Might as well do Marco V223. I don't know the. I don't. Let's see who else is in here right now. Woody Haney. Thank you, my friend Mark Browning. I'm going to Mark. Thank you for saying that. Ketamine. Ketamine was a dissociative anesthetic that we used in surgery back in the day. The crazy thing was is when people would wake up, they would think that they were in another world, or they would think they were a different person, and it would take a while for them to come back. And that's why it's called a dissociative anesthetic. And I talked about this a little bit last night. Timothy Leary really kind of set psychedelic research back by 50 years by popularizing LSD when he did, because Democrat and Republican people in Congress were very conservative socially at the time, and they saw, man, I'm tripping, people jumping out of windows, which probably happened once, but that was the myth, wasn't it? And that people were having all these bad trips, all this stuff. So all the research dried up. Ketamine research for psychiatry dried up. It's only been recently that this stuff has found a resurgence, including research on other psychedelics, such as psilocybin, which has some pretty decent data for PTSD. And I think we'll be seeing that used more and more as time goes on as well. Microdosing again. So ketamine is sort of this unusual psychedelic, this dissociative, and it was originally derived, believe it or not, from PCP, phencyclin. Shoot. Okay, see, now that's the ketamine doing that to me. But anyway, angel dust. And ketamine has been used in hospitals and veterinary clinics as an anesthetic for decades. And it's also been on the street. And the street name is Special K, my friend. And people would go down a K hole. Of course, they were taking monster doses of this stuff compared to the therapeutic dose. And you get pain control. You get some forgetfulness. What does PCP stand for again? Intoxication didn't have that. Dissociation and euphoria didn't really have that either. But it's recently been come to the forefront for its approval for treatment-resistant depression. So that's what it's for, Woody. And that's so. You can now get ketamine in almost every state. And it is really, what pisses me off, though, is some of these ketamine clinics, you just call them. I'm looking at this article from Harvard Health, and of course they're, God forbid that healthcare should be taken out of their hands. But they're saying, I called all these places and they said I could get it really easily. Well, mainly because the SSRIs and the SNRIs kind of suck. And they take, and when I say SSRI, I'm talking Prozac, Zoloft, Paxil, and then the SNRIs are pretty much everything else. The old school amitriptyline, nortriptyline, those were SNRIs. The more newer things are Pristiq and Effexor, venlafaxine, and those types of drugs. Duloxetine, Cymbalta, is also the SNRI, which stands for serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. Basically, what they do is when the cells release serotonin and norepinephrine when they're talking to each other. They're supposed to give the signal and then suck it back up again so they can give the signal again. These things are reuptake inhibitors, which means, oh, wait a minute, I can't suck this back up again. So the levels of serotonin and norepinephrine increase in the brain over time. And that results in many people in an improvement in their depression. Okay, so that's what's going on. Anyway, if you have a history of psychosis or schizophrenia, you don't want to take a dissociative anesthetic as a drug because it's going to make those symptoms worse. Anyway, oh, Dr. Scott is here. Hello, Dr. Scott. Let's get him in here. Well, all right. There he is. Hello, Dr. Scott.
What's up, old buddy? How are you?
Good, man.
So I was just thinking
Hearing
that
myself through there, you gotta turn your echo.
am I echoing?
No, it sounds like I am.
Well, I think you are, but I think it's because of the space you're in. It's inside your head.
Okay. Yeah, the stuff we're on. It was awesome though, dude. Let me tell you what happened. I walked outside, and the sun was out, and everything was crisp and beautiful, and green was more green, the blue of the sky was more blue, and everything was kind of peaceful and wonderful. It was pretty neat, actually. I was very impressed with it.
Well, I'm glad you're there. We're just sitting here listening to this dialogue, and I wish everybody in the whole wide world could listen to this and understand the importance of treating these issues from multiple disciplines. You know what I mean? And not just a pill or just a therapy or whatever. But I think the combination of these treatments are really paramount. And I'm blown away with what you're saying. It's truly brilliant.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I took one dose, but I'm very impressed so far with microdosing. I told the guy I don't want to be tripping my balls off. Did that in the 60s. I've been there. That's not what I'm interested in. I just want to get better.
Right on. Was that right before you did the stripping thing?
No, the streaking. I didn't. Streaking.
Well, you were streaking. I say stripping. I'm sorry. The streaking thing. That's right.
No, I was doing everything in those days. That was in the late 60s, early 70s.
That's good
stuff.
stuff.
We ever told the streaking story on the show? It is pretty ridiculous.
It is. I think we've told it a couple times, but it just gets better every time. It just gets better every time.
But I'm just going to say this, that when you are streaking with a whole bunch of people, because I was in Mangum dorm, and we filled up 6 floors with naked men, and it would just empty out. And then when you get lost, and your little group of people, maybe 40 or 50 people, gets lost from the big group of maybe 800 people. And then you come running into that crowd that's all around your dorm that opened up for the big crowd, and they already ran in and are getting their clothes on. And here we are. And all of a sudden, people turn around and go, who the hell are these guys? I've heard someone say that. Who the hell is this? And all of a sudden, when you're in a big crowd and they're not parting, the Red Sea isn't parting for you, you're wearing nothing but a necktie, all of a sudden you realize you don't have clothes on.
I'm just waiting for the part.
All of a sudden you're naked. and then I have some woman from my class who actually I kind of was attracted to, comes up to me and says, oh, you were awesome. You were awesome. And I'm trying to wrap my necktie around my because the shrinkage,
The shrinkage. Well, I'm just waiting for the part for you to evolve so much that your memory tells you that was Marilyn Monroe looking at you, going, "Hey, Steve."
This woman, though, if she's out there, she was quite attractive.
She's probably still in therapy, I would assume, wouldn't you think?
Probably. The other thing is she's 68, just like me, which, there goes Dr. Scott. Oh, no, he's
Oh no, I'm
uh,
back. Yeah.
the first woman that I ever had intercourse with, I was 17. She was 44. So do the math, Dr. Scott.
Oh my God,
Is that
wonderful.
17 years or 27 years? Wait a minute. What is that?
Who cares?
And I
It's a
do that
beautiful story.
44
But
minus 17 is what?
a bunch.
Okay, hang on. 44 minus 17 is. Hang on, I'm going to get.
It's 27.
Okay, 20. It's 20. I knew that was 27. Okay. What is 68 plus 27?
The answer is 95.
She could still be alive.
Oh my word, she could be.
She's old. Well, it's time I took a young man to my bed. And
I remember you back in the good old
can
days.
you imagine? Oh,
But I will take
this for old time's sake.
Yeah, but I will tell you that it, concerning some of those therapies you're undergoing, and experimenting with, the ketamine therapies that I've sent some folks to, they've done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And I think certainly the microdosing things are showing more and more promise in controlled, environments, and I'm just glad that you're doing it, and
Let's
kind of
not
getting
forget that it is for treatment-resistant depression and
right.
anxiety as well. The thing is that I can't take the SSRIs, I can't take the SNRIs, I can't take Wellbutrin, which is a dopamine,
Right.
modulator. I can't
Sure,
take
sure,
them.
sure. Right.
This so far I seem to be able to take. Now, listen, I'm not going to make any big claims after one day, but I'm going to get on here every day and talk about how things are going, because my next dose is tomorrow morning. So.
Well, I'm proud of you. I think you're doing super great.
Fuck off, Richard. 2 medical school couldn't do a simple math problem. You do a show, okay?
And do those functional math while you're talking. Yeah, tell him to go fuck himself.
I just did.
Good.
I'm going to call him during his show and ask him, well, now what's 63 minus 22?
That's right.
Now,
the answer is a bunch.
And Greg Rogers said 27, so he was correct.
There you
go. I've got some things I need to edit out of this particular episode, but I'm very interested to see how this works. I already feel a lot better. I'm glad I'm here and doing this. I asked my shrink asked me, what's the last thing you did for yourself? And I couldn't think of a single thing. Not one.
You mean your old buddy Dr. Scott, you mean? What's the last thing you did for yourself? That's the truth.
Yeah. No, I bought stuff for myself. She said that doesn't count.
That does not count, though.
Yeah. Rochi says, in defense of Dr. Evil Steve, he is high. I'm really not. I'm not high. I'm high.
No.
I was earlier today, and I wasn't even high then. Diesel Child wants to know how you get mushroom prescriptions. You don't yet. Now, in North Carolina, in Wilmington, I went into a store and they had like mushroom gummies, but do they have psilocybin in them? I do not know. I know that you could buy things that had muscarine in them, which is from the Amanita muscaria mushroom, but it's not really psychedelic. It's just an anticholinergic like Benadryl or something like that.
Right.
So, there are muscarinic receptors in the autonomic nervous system, and it comes from Amanita muscaria, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. But if you're gonna for actual the mushrooms in Canada, they're legal, and you can go there and get mushroom gummies and all kinds of things in Canada. You sure can.
What?
Yep. My nephew was up there, and he went to just a normal shop, just like a convenience store, but it's like an herb shop, and you go in and you buy your mushrooms, and he got some chocolates that were psilocybin kind of full, and took them before he went skiing.
Wow, really?
No, hell.
Just
And I
had a
told him, I said,
weird time.
I said, well, I hope you just took a little bite of them. And he said he felt it was just exceptional. He was no anxiety, no stress. And he wasn't stoned or anything. He just kind of did this thing.
Yeah.
And then I think he kind of floated on down to the bar and had a big night.
Hey,
But
Scott, this is a good question. Dustin Jenny Haas says, is there a natural alternative to duloxetine? In other words, to SNRIs or modern antidepressants. What do you recommend? What does traditional Chinese medicine say?
Well, a couple things. The acupuncture has been proven to turn on the body's normal response and stimulate serotonin. So we can actually stimulate serotonin release to a small degree. It's not something that's going to happen, over time, but you can certainly get serotonin released that way. And and the other thing we'd like to do is this. I know you're going to shoot me for saying this, but things like astragalus, ginseng.
No, it's
Well,
fine.
actually,
I mean, you
well,
guys
actually,
put astragalus and everything.
we really do. They're adaptogenic herbs, and they can actually help with stress. But then there are the other herbs. And again, this is like the herbs that we have in our stress less formula for the that are herbs that.
Here comes the commercial.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
I'm sorry. I was losing you there for a
It's
second.
fine. Go to simplyherbals.net. Dr.
Yeah.
Scott's got some good shit there.
Yeah, and it actually does help balance out the serotonin. So the biggest thing is certainly exercise, and the acupuncture for sure. But there's a lot of things that can help people feel better. And starts with make sure you're safe, and your metabolic panels are good, your hormones are good, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So check out your primary care doctor first, and then go from there.
Yeah. Wanted to show everybody, by the way. Let's see what I got. I'm up to 10,000 steps today, just walking around this stupid place. Back and forth to all these different things. It's now this was okay. You can't. Oh shit, you can't see it. But anyway.
Oh.
This is because we're on the. Yes, idiot. Because we're on the air right now. My stress meter is around a 3. It was down to a 0 at one point while I was here. That's the first time.
Gosh, imagine that.
I know.
How'd that happen? Golly.
I know.
I'd like to. So, how are you measuring this? What is the stressometer thing?
It's well, I don't know. It's measuring heart rate variability and heart rate and some other things. I'm not exactly sure how
cool.
But it just has a meter that says stress, and it goes from 0 to 100. And when I was up in Detroit, it was at 100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, we lost 2 of our friends. We didn't know where they gotten to, and I wasn't 100% sure that they hadn't been kidnapped and murdered. I mean, they were in the middle of downtown Detroit and disappeared. And it's a long story. I'll tell you about it later. But anyway.
So is it just a wristwatch kind of thing, or like a band around your chest?
It's an app on my watch.
Oh, cool.
And but I'm not 100% sure. It's obviously it can only measure certain things, and it's all has to do with electrical conductivity of the skin.
Sure.
And heart rate and things like that. And it's got to infer a bunch of stuff from using formulas to come out with a number for something. But it was pretty interesting. I was really stressed out in Detroit, and it was 100. And then while I was here, it was as low as 0 at one point. So it's amazing.
Well, I think you should shoot for. Is DP there?
Yep, he sure is. Did 500 micrograms of LSD. How do you know? That's the thing. When you buy it off some dealer, you don't know. But went into another universe, came back with my crippling anxiety gone. Well, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that psychedelic research has had some resurgence, but it's because of anecdotal evidence like that that finally people said, we've got to start studying this again. And Scott, I don't know if you were listening, but I was talking about my Timothy Leary hypothesis that his popularizing of LSD caused no end to destruction of the idea of psychedelic research over the last 40, 50 years.
Right.
And it's just now recovering from that now that people are seeing that it's actually has some benefits.
Yeah, it gave everybody kind of a bad taste in their mouth. But I think, Dr. Steve, I think the key is finding these things that are truly therapeutic and helpful, and then funneling some of the funds that are being used in other kind of areas. Not that they're not as important, but maybe funneling some of the funds into some of these things that are not necessarily traditional, and helping kind of fast track this therapy that may be profoundly helpful and a whole lot safer and a whole lot cheaper too.
Oh yeah, this was not expensive. A month
supply. No, it's not. It's not. It's really not.
I'm Shannon Wallen is he's the guy that was the trauma fat man for a while, and he's knows Lloyd Kaufman and's been affiliated with Trauma Films for a while. Says his anxiety gets worse as he gets older. He almost never leaves home now. Shannon, if you would go to Reddit and go to reddit.com and search for the subreddit Dr. Steve. I posted the link. I also posted it in the chat. Just jump on with us and we'll talk for a minute.
And there's some things we can do. Dr. Steve, as well as I do, jumping in there and doing something about it is the key.
Do something, right?
And you are not alone, because I tell you, the one thing I've said for 100 years is that if you do nothing, nothing will happen. And sitting and waiting for something to happen, that nothing good's gonna occur. So just jump in there and let some of us who know, or I hate to say know what we're doing. Some of those of us who've been there and done
experience.
it, we have some experiential stuff and some different skill sets, and do something. Just even if it's wrong, fucking do it.
Yeah, I had pancreatic. What am I saying? I had panic disorder.
No, not pancreatic disorders.
No,
you're close.
I had panic disorder so bad that I really didn't want to leave home. And I've talked about how I recovered from that. And you can beat crippling anxiety. I'm telling you, you can do it.
Yes.
It takes a shitload of work, and you have to keep trying and failing and trying and failing. And I was in a seminar today at this place, and they talked about you try and you fail, and then you go, wow, fuck, I'm going to just give up. But if you keep trying and failing, eventually you will succeed. And that's the crazy thing is the more times people try to quit smoking, the more likely it is they will succeed in quitting smoking, even though they've tried and failed. The more times that they try, the more likely it is that they'll actually succeed. Anyway.
That's exactly right.
Your mandolin with you?
It's close.
Okay, grab it, because I was thinking maybe we could play a song later just to torture people. Let's bring Mark into here. You want to?
Bring Mark, and I'll run and grab it real quick. Hey, mute me or shut me down for a second. Yeah, I'll be right back.
You put it on mute. You can put your phone on mute.
Mark B, are you there, buddy? Hello, Mark.
Nope. Hey, Dr. Steve.
Oh, there you are. Hey, how's it going, man? All right. I see no picture. I just see that weird StreamYard thing.
There you go.
You don't have to show your face. Oh, there you go. Yeah, why would
you
want to hide that face?
You're the man.
No. What's up, man?
No, I just I clicked the link and now here I am. So I thought it was just listening. So, but
no, I'm glad you are. I was just looking at Darren Parker saying that he actually bought, it looks like pharmaceutical LSD from the Netherlands. I want to know more about that. How long ago was that? Can you still do it? And I probably need to just stick to one psychedelic for now. But I'm very impressed with this. So Mark, tell me what's going on with you. You just hanging out?
Hanging out, listen to your story. Appreciate you sharing with everybody your experience. Just telling my wife about your ketamine regimen and what's going on. So, and this is your form of your daily, what do you say, your diary instead of doing a written.
Correct.
Doing
I'm
a
supposed
video
to be
one.
journaling. I'm doing this instead. That's exactly right, because I'm too frigging lazy.
It's all good.
But anyway, yeah. So is your wife there with you?
She is?
She doesn't want to get on camera.
I don't think so, no.
That's fine.
She's like Casey.
Honey, don't you worry about it. Now, are you a Dabbleverse person, Mark? Or
well, I am confused by this whole Dabbleverse. Is it just all these guys with WATP and in Stuttering John? I just don't get it. It's so weird.
This last Detroit WATP live thing, a friend of mine was meeting her new love for the first time in person. They're going to spend actual time together. And she wanted a wing person with her. So she brought this person. Well, then those two disappeared and left the wing person with us at the WATP event. And a friend of mine named Jay was trying to explain to her, okay, well, so there's, Chrissy Mayer had Stuttering John on his show, and she said he dabbled in comedy, and he got mad, and he said, dabble, and I dabble. I've been a headliner for 35 years. So all of a sudden he became the dabbler. And this became the Dabbleverse because there was all these people that were making shows about John Melendez, which if the first time Carl Hamburger had done a show about him, I think it was episode 109. I'm not 100% sure if that's right. If he had just said, oh, those guys are assholes and just moved on, that would have been it. But he got butt hurt and he went after him. And then it's been on ever since. And that's basically it. And then you have, Cardiff Electric, who was a Stuttering John troll, who now is hosting Stuttering John's Q&A at this Rochester event. I mean, it's
crazy. It's cottage industry.
It is.
Sure Howard must be proud.
And they're all making money except for John, and so that makes it funny too. I guess. I mean, I feel for the guy, but he's been kind of naughty too. So
Well,
I don't. But anyway, it's nuts. And trying to explain this to a person, so before the show started, they would get some of the jokes, but she loved it. So, it's funny in its own right without having to have a lot of the backstory. The backstory makes it funnier, but it's still funny.
Yeah, it's just weird though.
Yeah, it's weird. It's crazy. I mean, you're talking. Carl has 2,000-3,000 Patreon subscribers, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, but from that he can make a living. That's his living. He quit his day job. And that's all in this world. That's all you need. You get up into the millions of, like Tim Dillon. I looked at his Patreon. We had Tim Dillon at one of our ETN comedy events. And it was at Allendale Mansion. And we got him for $1,500 plus expenses. He now makes $180,000 a month on his Patreon. Wow. He didn't tell me that. You can calculate it from how many subscribers he's got.
Right.
180 a month.
Well, God bless him, man.
God bless him. I totally agree. Now, John will say, well, that guy's making all this money. Why aren't I making any money? Oh, well, I lost him. Let's get old Terry Boudreau in here. And let's get Dr. Scott back. Hey, Terry.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. It's a beautiful day. My 6th grandchild was born about 8 hours ago.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Well, Dr. Scott and I can play Happy Birthday.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Papa.
I went all the way up here to New Jersey for the birth and to go to a couple of soccer games.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
You're in
Oh,
Sean Hedrick's neck of the woods right now.
But it's a lot nicer than Georgia, so I'm just going to say it that way.
There.
But I did want to say that I'm hoping you're very successful in your microdosing. It's something I would like to consider at some time.
Yeah, well, there's microdosing and then there's microdosing, right? There's microdosing of mushrooms. There's microdosing of ketamine. There are other drugs that you can microdose. And but I'm so far, I mean, one day in, I'm very interested in the result that I've gotten. I mean, I feel like $1 million. This is the first time in years that I've felt, and I don't feel like I'm euphoric, you know, I don't feel like I'm high and that's why I feel this way, but we'll see, you know. Yeah, I take my next dose tomorrow and I take this for the next month and I'll keep you guys in the loop.
Yeah, I guess my fear is that I was diagnosed. I had epilepsy appear when I was 60. And the medication I take for it, it seems that everything I do from, you know, no matter what drug I take for no matter what I do, it messes it up. It doesn't matter.
What drug is it? Is it
Trileptal?
Oh,
Trileptal? Yeah.
And it works. I haven't had a seizure in 6 years, so I you know.
Yeah, you don't want to screw that up.
No.
But,
one seizure and you don't drive for 6 months minimum. So,
and in Florida, it's 18 months.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I was quoting the law. You're right.
And not for nothing, but Georgia's stupid because they don't actually take the physical license away from you.
Oh, come on. Seriously, no. Okay, let's see if there's a drug interaction between ketamine and trileptal.
I'm looking right now, Steve.
It's oxcarbazepine and ketamine. Yes. Using ketamine together with oxcarbazepine may increase the side effects such as dizziness, drowsiness, confusion, difficulty concentrating, excessive sedation, and respiratory depression. Doesn't say that it reduces the effectiveness of the drug, but I would be very nervous about it.
Especially about the respiration thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's now look, what they're talking about, I really think that they're talking about street dose, you know, street dose.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're not going to get changes in respiration from 12.5 milligrams. But anyway, but, you know, oxcarbazepine has a moderate interaction with food, too, and alcohol. So,
yeah, it's really cut out my alcohol consumption.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, all right, man. Well, I'll keep you in the loop on all of that stuff, and I really appreciate you.
And Steve, I'll tell you guys what I've seen from some of the folks I've sent for the ketamine therapies. They do a little bit better every single time, and over time the dosages are less. Yeah, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I was looking at the trileptal and psilocybin and not finding a whole lot.
Okay.
Of it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Terry, email me and I'll see what I can find out. Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, guys. Man. Be well.
Thanks, man. Take care. You.
Listen, I'm going to bed.
Okay, man.
Hey, get some rest, brother.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. And hey, if you want to send in some medical questions for tomorrow, send them to drsteve202@gmail.com. Check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. And really appreciate you all hanging out with us tonight. And
thank you, guys.
I'll let you know how things go.
Wonderful to see everybody.
Think of me at 6 in the morning when I take my next dose. Anyway, take care. Have a great night.
And then go for a walk. Hey, take care, everybody.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
See you, Dr. Steve. See you, buddy.
Okay.
Bye.
We love you too, Diesel. You're good.